And there's nothing about what this Biden administration's doing that represents you or me or this country or God in any kind of way. It's utterly disgusting, but I'm going to keep trudging on despite the censorship because I believe there's a lot of truths that you have to know. If you're there, please respond. Listen to this administration. Listen to
We know
this.
that all students do their best when they're seen and they're supported. To the many transgender students across the country listening on this Trans Day of Visibility, we in the Biden-Harris administration want you to know that we see you, we support you, and we celebrate you. We also know it's not an easy time to be you. Walking into a classroom should be an act of hope, not an act of bravery. But every day you choose to show up as your true self, you make this world a more brave, more honest, and more free place. In your gift for seeing things as they could be, I see the promise of America. Today, we at the Department of Education want you to know that your school, your community, and your country are better because you're a part of it. You don't just belong here, we need you here. From all of us here at the Department of Education, happy Trans Day of Visibility. At the Department of Education, we know that all students do their best when they're seen and they're supported. To the many transgender students across the country listening on this Trans Day of Visibility, we in the Biden-Harris administration want you to know that we see you, we support you, and we celebrate you. We also know it's not an easy time to be you. Walking into a classroom should be an act of hope, not an act of bravery. But every day you choose to show up as your true self, you make this world a more brave, more honest, and more free place. In your gift.
Have you ever heard such ridiculous predator material in all your life so a whole bunch of gay strangers can somehow work their way into taking over advantage of our children, mutilating our children, deceiving our children? What about just pure satanic talk? Today, he has risen, he is risen, and this day that they're pushing is nothing but a threat on my faith, maybe your faith too. You see, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that he died for me and he rose today and that he forgave me for my sins. But I got to try to be good. And it's hard to be good. We've been given 10 commandments, but how hard is it not to worship an idol image as we pray to a cross? You know, the Jews have 613 commandments, 365 good ones, 248 bad ones. Moses added 6 plus 1 plus 3 made 10. And Jesus said, treat your neighbor as you want to be treated. Do unto others as you want done to you. But above all, love. I ask you, when you look at Gaza, is that the way the Jews are treating their neighbors today? I want you to understand that the Jews also do not believe in Jesus Christ. No, they think he's a liar. So what kind of thoughts are we really being pushed on here? Because to me, they seem like they're anti-Jesus, anti-Christian, anti-American. Could we ask Soros about it? He's a Jew. What about Zelensky? He's a Jew too. What about Netanyahu or Epstein or Silverstein? Or the judge that's going after Trump up in New York? You see, there's Sadducees in the church of Jews, and there's Pharisees. The Pharisees answer to a higher power. They answer to something, however. The Sadducees believe you live here and now and you die, and that those of us that believe are purely crazy. So, this is a Sadducee movement, and it's gone wild, and we'll call it a Sadducee Ukrainian war and a Sadducee Gaza takeover. And Christians are getting attacked. Just look at what the 700 Club, CBN, has told you. These things are all true. Christians are being attacked. If they loved their neighbor, they could have honestly loved a Christian out there or a Muslim, and this war that we're seeing would be ended in a generation. Now, the Amalekites, the Gazahites, they've been doing this war since 633 BC, even when Jesus was alive. This was a 640-year-old war. Speaker Johnson, I'm begging that you don't give $60 billion to the Ukraine. And yeah, they will surrender if not. And think about all the war material they're going to give to Putin the day they surrender. Now, If you give them 60 billion and more F-16s and more munitions, they will surrender just another 6 months down the road before Trump's in office, and they will have all of our material, all of our HIMARS, all of our Patriots and Tomahawks and everything they need to know so that they can destroy us from the inside out. You see, when I read the Quran, even Muhammad was kicked out of his country, so he had to come back in and infiltrate. Well, they're doing that to us today up in Michigan. It's pure and simple and very obvious to me. Look at the representatives that we have up there. You can call them the squad. One of them from Palestine, like I said, I can hear what she has to say, but all the other ones are anti-American rejects that are placed here purely to destroy our country. Now, Congress gave $600 million to the Sudan, and they want to teach them about all these things that Big Mike Obama wanted to teach you as well. Just this last week in El Paso, Texas, we caught somebody with enough bomb material to blow up another building. Why are we giving money to countries that do that? I will say Sudan, Haiti. Haiti's got a ton of criminals. They can't even take care of themselves. They're cannibalistic. Why do we want them here? People from Venezuela, hasn't that been our enemy? Same thing with Cuba. Why are we going after countries that have had problems and chips on their shoulders to the United States? It's almost like, while you're at it, America, why don't you just do an open visa-free passport exchange between us and Iran? Because that's about how much sense this makes. Maybe if they did that tomorrow, you'd wake up. But you're not woken up yet. You've had El Salvador, Haiti, okay, Nicaragua, all these countries come in here with their cannibalistic thoughts and threats and their Indian mentality. They're never going to know how to work for taxes or get car insurance, but our government's going to give them 2 years of free room and board, all the food they need, maybe free insurance while we leave our United States veterans, all 107,000 of them, on the streets that are homeless today. So, 600 million to the Sudan, 250 million spent today. And that today that they're spending that, they're doing that on a day while they're destroying Easter. So this government spending $250 million today to wipe the slate clean, to make me take 3 because I mentioned the word Jesus Christ, or because I mentioned that he is risen because today is Easter. Well, they want to tell you that today is some new sort of visibility day. Well, I'm starting to see the visibility that you're throwing crystal clear. And to me, it's satanic. And to me, I'm understanding that our children are under attack. We need to get China out of our food system. All the companies they have, we need to repossess and seize. Caterpillar, GM, everything. China is our enemy. Kristi Noem knows it. I don't know how many other people know this. They're poisoning our food with bioengineered ingredients. They're taking all of our stuff from Tyson and all of our meat. They're packaging it in China. They're adding a whole bunch of weird fillers. And for some reason, Major Thomas Haviland showed us how 73% of the cadavers today have proteinistic tumors that are in their arteries to where they can't embalm people coming out of the service. I don't think it's just the vaccines. And yeah, I'm one of the people that talked about ivermectin, and now you know the Homeland Security and FDA, you can't talk bad about a Nobel Prize peace-winning drug that we've been administering throughout Africa for decades. So stop calling it horse medication when it's actually wormwood, and things are all taken from what God has given us. So ivermectin's wormwood, hydrochloroquine is from the cinchona tree. You could say CBD, that's from cannabis, but there's nothing that America or even modern science has even made except for speed. Truly, everything has come by God, so we need to respect God. And on a day in which God should be respected the most, our government is literally just showing us what an abomination it is. Why? Well, because a man should not dress like a woman, and a woman shall not dress like a man. That's an abomination to the Lord. And on that day, on Easter, is a day you're going to fund $250 million against my church, against the Church of Christ, against Christians. Well, you're not just attacking Christians. You're attacking people that are Hindu and Muslim because you're attacking our children. Now, that's my spin on it. I also told you that that Maryland Bridge incident was complete terrorism. I showed you on time-lapse video how he never threw it into reverse and how he basically went hard right rudder with full power on while he's blinking his lights on and off to take that pylon down, which made the whole bridge collapse. If you haven't seen it, go back and see that video. Understand we're under attack. If you don't believe it, Christianity is under attack, and they did it on a day that's the most sacred day to a Christian. You see, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. My God, why have you forsaken me? I'm going to tell you, Jesus Christ has not been forsaken, not one day until today, and that's by Jackwagon Joe. We need to stand up for Jesus. Please don't be lukewarm. Please be hot or cold. Remember, even Saul became Paul. And for all the Sauls sitting on their couch, I'm asking you to stand up. Stand up for your children. Stand up for their rights. Stand up for your mother, your grandmother, and your daughter. Don't let a boy put a bra on and go out and kick their butts, because that's not right. And if you have to be told that's not right, you must be retarded. I don't understand how anybody could honestly believe that. Everybody under 30, try to move out of your parents' houses or stop giving them your opinion. Go out and try working, because some of you need to learn that ethic in life. Because it seems like you bottom feeders that have the loudest opinions are the ones that don't have any jobs. And you know what? It seems like they've killed the incentive for the American workforce. And so what I'm seeing in the younger generation, they don't know if they're boys, they don't know if they're girls, and they damn sure don't know if they're Americans. And then with that to top it off on, they have no God in their life. So what am I here to tell you? What I'm here to tell you is that you have to have God in your life so that you find value in yourself. And when you have a relationship with God, you will treat yourself better, because you will find that you hold yourself accountable to a higher power. And this is important so that you can grow as a human being. Then you're more believable, because even your friends understand that you operate with a higher power. Then you don't denigrate and destroy yourself with drugs and smoking and bad things, because you treat yourself like a church. Jesus said, I'm going to go down and rebuild this church and come back in 3 days. Well, today's the day he rose. Why are you going to let this government tell you and me that we don't know what we're talking about? Does that upset you, that they want to basically teach this wicked type of Bidenomics to our children? So this is take 3. Maybe take 3 will win, because it's the 3rd day that he has risen. Understand $600 million to the Sudan. Understand we just caught a terrorist guy in El Paso, Texas, with enough bomb material to blow up a building. Understand Haiti's coming in here and they're out of control, cannibalistic. And then El Salvador, Venezuela, Nicaragua, all of these countries with bottom-feeding criminals are coming into our country left and right. I want you to know that Chicago, Illinois has already got them. I want you to know also that Tennessee, just of yesterday, we sent you almost 1,000 illegal aliens, and you're now one of the new home frontiers to get shipments from Texas. Wake up. So Tennessee, you're on the block. Illinois, you're on the block. What do I mean on the block by? Massive buses and airplanes and 747s, ever what you ever want to call it, dropping off illegals every day at your door. Then they're going to ask you to take care of these people that culturally eat people. There's been people that have wound up missing. They're going to tell you crime is down while crime is up. They're going to tell you crime is down while the military is actually in the New York subway system. Thing I need to let you know as an update, that Maryland Bridge was terrorism pure and simple. I showed you on a time lapse how he went hard right rudder under full power to take it out. You could have seen him go into reverse. He doesn't go into reverse. There's 4 generators on that boat. You never lose electrical power. Electrical power, though, is not what's at stake here. When you see the smoke going out of the smokestack, he doesn't go into reverse. He slams it forward, turns it full hard right rudder, and goes right into the pylon and takes the Maryland Bridge out. This is a Ukrainian boat captain. What did he do? Well, he gave the American public a present. Now, why is that a present? Folks, if we go into martial law in Washington, D.C., that's the harbor right there that's going to give all of our military food. And now they'll run out of food. The truckers are already pissed off, and if California wanted to give them food or gas, I don't think eventually the states of Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Oklahoma, and Texas are going to let them pass. Furthermore, if this breaks off, the liberals in Colorado, if you're going to call them even, well, they're bottom feeders that don't have guns. And Colorado's other population has them completely, if you're even neck and neck, well, the ones that are red have 10 to 20 pieces apiece in each closet they got. I could say the same thing about Kansas and Nebraska and Wyoming. So don't go thinking that this nation's on an even keel when it's not. And understand that Ukrainian ship, I think the captain wasn't that DEI, and he realizes he's lost over 500,000 friends of his in the Ukraine. And I think he also knows who the culprit that funded that war and destruction of his beautiful country was. Odessa, the Ukraine, everywhere it used to be beautiful. And if we didn't get involved, there'd be 500,000 more live people, Ukrainians. There'd also be 500,000 more Ukrainians that aren't just war victims, that have their arms and legs blown off to kingdom come. It was a beautiful country, and when we got involved, it became ashes. Same thing with Gaza. Okay, look at Gaza. Bernie Sanders told us 98% of all the bombs they've been using have come from Uncle Sam. Is that okay with you? Because it's not okay with me. I don't want us to participate in killing anybody, because if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. We need to just show the world that we can feed them, and we need to show the world that we can feed them organically. And we've got better energy solutions that we've known about for 27 years. So why do we have to keep on sucking up on oil and gas and Saudi when we've got other factors and solutions such as biodiesel and hydrogenated fuels, where we can cut back on fuel consumption by 50 to 80%? So it's not a matter on information. It's a matter of application of the information that we're sitting on, that we have now. And right now, our government is working against us in every single capacity they can. And it's not just against country, it's against God and country. I don't care if you're a Muslim, it's against your God. Okay? Why? Because we're all the seeds of Abraham. And believe it or not, the Quran, the Torah, and the Bible see eye to eye as far as the Satanism and satanic rituals against our children that we're fighting today. I've even talked to a lot of Hindu parents, and there's not one faith that accepts what this government is doing. So I'm asking for everybody that's a believer in God, whether you're Muslim, Christian, or Hindu, for us to stand together to protect our children and to protect our country, because intrinsically we know what's right, just as much as we know what's wrong. And we came here to protect our children, to find a better way, to find the American way. Am I right? Well, how can we let this one administration, this Koch administration, this drugged out administration, how can we let this one administration ruin our beautiful country and more? Why are we letting them? Chuck Grassley tried to impeach Jackwagon Joe. Not one out of 99 senators came forward telling me it's a uniparty. Please, like in New Jersey, vote for Joseph Belnome. Vote for somebody that's not an incumbent, because the thing that's killing us are incumbents, in case you haven't figured it out. And we have checks and balances, and our last president was stolen by the legislative branch. And so what did they do? They put in the oldest crooked legislator they could in there. Jackwagon Joe. You could ask George Carlin or Robin Williams. They know the truth. Oh, but they checked out, so they can't inform us of the truths anymore, huh? Well, good old buddy here, I'll do that. I'll give you some finger-licking good information to set you straight so you know what you're facing. It's a pile of garbage, folks. Congress is working against us, and we need to protect our children. I'm asking for all the parents of all the faiths to stand together. I don't care if you're Hindu. I don't care if you're Muslim or Christian. We see eye to eye on protecting our children, and we are fighting satanic forces. And if they went after my religion and my faith with Jesus Christ, yours is next. Okay? And the only country that says that, and the only thing that smells like to me, it's not Russia, because he lets you be a Muslim or a Christian. The only country that forbids all religions is China. The same country that's infecting our food. Same country sending us herbicides and pesticides. Same country loading us up full of fentanyl. Same country that stole Walmart and all of our Del Monte foods. Same country that took Tyson meats and is injecting some sort of thing in them before they send it back here. Now, colleges have decided not to carry Tyson foods while other ones have demanded it. 73% of the cadavers taken out by the United States Air Force have protein tumors in their arteries. We are being fought by China through vaccines, through food, through corporations, through radiation, through our phones. We need to not let them make our phones. We need to get good at laser technology so that we can use lasers to beam their satellites or their balloons out of the sky. And honestly, when we had to use a plane to shoot something down after it careened over our country, that kind of made us look real third world to me, because Trump would have used a laser and taken that thing down as soon as it hit Alaska. But if we're using missiles and new F-15s and Reapers and F-22s to do that kind of job, well, why are we spending millions of dollars on something that could only really cost a few pennies if we used a laser to take down a balloon? These are just common sense things that we'll never get because this government doesn't have common sense. Common sense would be bringing back all of our troops today, kicking out all the illegal aliens tomorrow, bringing our ships back to the Panama Canal, kicking China out of the Panama Canal and every other country. By doing that, that would straighten up the Suez Canal and the Strait of Taiwan. But that only makes sense. Now, if you think that's bad, understand Teddy Roosevelt built that thing before we had cars. And he was friends with my great-grandparents. And guess what? That Panama Canal's ours, even though the peanut farmer, President Carter, gave it to him down there. That was a mistake. But he had no idea that the Panamanians would become broke and sell it to China. Well, the day that happened was the day that we started getting problems. Again, our answer is simple. We need to bring our troops back, bring our ships back, plant them on either side of the Panama Canal, and say, this is ours, Joker. You guys want to be jerks to us in the Suez Canal and jerks to our allies under Taiwan like Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, and Vietnam? Well, two can play this game, China, and we just took over the Panama Canal, and you're next. You see, we got to get the upper hand on strategy, on trading, and that would do it. We also got to build our refineries back and cut out these pipelines because they're all in bed with Saudi Arabia. The CO2 pipeline that was put in there by Dick Cheney, paid for by the King of Saudi Arabia and Halliburton. I don't know. I've been one of Halliburton's top guys. Read thebarnettshell.com. Why do you think I'm doing this? I'm pissed off. I know what they're doing, and I know that we're the victims. CO2 fracking, you're going to do that in an area over eastern South Dakota and eastern North Dakota where there's no reserves. So this is a property grab that's happening right now under this administration to normal Americans, and it's illegal, based off of Dick Cheney's words. So if you like that, then remember, Liz Cheney, her dad did that. Don't listen to a word she's got to say. Or, let me tell you, the family's pure evil. That administration was pure evil. In fact, I don't think we've had a good administration all the way back to LBJ. And Trump, you got to get a vice president that doesn't have presidents in their eyes. Please don't pick Tulsi Gabbard or Vivek Ramaswamy because they were Democrats and they're not Christian. And I don't know if America's ready for a Hindu president or vice president. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I'd like to know your opinions, America. I personally think Vivek Ramaswamy is a WEF plant because they sued each other, and after 90 days, the WEF mediated with him. Second, his drug, ROI Vant, return on investment Viant, was proven not to be effective, and people died on it. So wouldn't the World Economic Forum want to put some guy in there who's a fake, phony drug CEO so that they could market another phony, fake vaccine to us so that they could destroy us on wave number 2? Well, I do. Look at all the people that were destroyed on wave number 1 and 2. This is take 3. Are you going to trust them? Are you going to trust this new Big Pharma? Because look what Big Pharma did to Afghanistan. Now, why did Vivek also go to a Catholic school his whole life but then marry an Indian girl and stay Hindu? Well, because he never matriculated to be a citizen. Just ask his dad, who never became an American. I trust Tulsi Gabbard far more than I do Vivek Ramaswamy, but there again, out of the 330 million people that live in this country, I would trust a bus driver before I would trust those two. And you could pick any middle of the road bus driver out, and I would trust that bus driver or truck driver 100% more than I would Vivek Ramaswamy or Tulsi Gabbard. In fact, you want to get it even more American? Throw an outlaw biker out there. Just put a good Hells Angels out there and make him our vice president. See how that runs. And while you're at it, you could tell Senator Mullins up there that while he was with Bernie Sanders, he did a horrible job negotiating with the Teamsters, and you're an embarrassment to the Senate. But I'm going to say that about both of the senators out of the state of Oklahoma, and I'm going to say that about both of the corrupt senators out of the state of South Dakota. Thune, he wants to be Mitch McConnell the turtle in the worst way, and Rounds, he doesn't give a rat's. And Rounds and Johnson will be going for Kristi Noem's position, so hopefully she's got a shot at the presidency. But Trump, that's the only person you've talked about that's not a Chinese plant. Other than that, you're trying to pick a woman or you're trying to pick a minority. I get it. Why don't you just try picking an American that's done a good job? One that can think on her feet and actually not be a damn embarrassment like Heels Up Harris is to every single one of us today. So again, $250 million went into attacking Easter and our children, while $600 million went to the Sudan for the exact same cause, except we caught one of those illegal aliens with bomb material in El Paso. I'm asking for parents to stand together, parents of all faiths. Doesn't matter to me if you're Muslim, Hindu, Christian, whatever. Okay, because above all, the thing that we have in common is that we're trying to answer to a higher power so that we can be better people and better parents and better to each other and better to this planet that was given to us. And see, we have something in common because we realized all this is set too perfect to just be unnatural. And there had to be a creator. There had to be somebody that got together and designed all this love so that you and I could coexist. Now, as long as we believe in that, a harmony will continue. And it's a harmony that's established the United States, and it was founded by a Jewish guy. Yep. And I'm not going to give the credit to George Washington or King James Bible. The person that founded the general thesis for the United States of America's name is Jesus Christ. And he taught us that there's no love better than somebody that would give their life for you. And in our faith, if you're one of the other people, and if you're Muslim, and if you're Hindu, I want you to know that you can become a Christian, because we believe that God cared about us so much that he gave his only begotten Son for us so that we could be saved. And then you could begin your personal relationship with Christ. And you can grow from there. You see, because in this finished faith, we have a relationship with God. Whereas in every other faith, we got to say, God, do you understand me? And then our governments get involved and say, no, they don't understand you. You need to go to war for us because there's differences. When there's no differences between us. We're just people trying to raise families. And we're people that are trying to coexist in love. And the only person that said that, treat your neighbor as you'd like to be treated. Do unto others as you want done to you. But above all, love. Those words, my friends, came from Jesus Christ, and I want you to know that today he has risen. And because of that, you and I are saved. And that's why I look at you as my friends and family and brothers and sisters in Christ. We're going to be taking over CPAC if all goes as well. I'll be reaching out to brother in Christ, Kenneth Copeland. And CPAC has been turned into a satanic event. We see that there's been this last time in New York, they left Trump wide open where bad things could have happened. And our turnout in Dallas and our turnout in Rapid City, everywhere else was a lot more successful. So I'm going to put a link on here. You can see what we're doing if you'd like to join us. I've got my brother Daryl Constantine. He's going to be joining me as well. We're going to be forming another CBN 700 club because now's the time and we need faith more than anything. Again, all branches of faith, we need faith in this country right now more than anything so we can have our country back. And so we have started a new CPAC, but the C doesn't stand for conservative. And because you're messing with my God and my Jesus today, I'm going to announce it firmly. We've started the Christian Political Action Committee, and you can go to the ChristianPoliticalActionCommittee.com. And the conservative angle is just not working because the stance is that different. Now, if you're saying that you're red, it's basically like me saying you're a person of faith. And if you're blue, to me, you're saying that you like this new day that came out today and that you don't have children and that you believe that children and families shouldn't have any rights. So we are coming out with the new CPAC, the Christian Political Action Committee, and I'd love it if you could join me and every single other Christian as we stand locked in arms, shoulder to shoulder, ready to take our country back in the name of Jesus. Now, for those of you that are of another faith, remember, you're more than welcome to stand with us, because where there's a will, there's a way, and where there's a little bit of hope, well, there's definitely a way. So we want to love thy neighbor, and I want you to be joining us together so that we can keep our country and keep it safe. Keep it safe from our children. That's more important than anything. I read several 3 books of the gospel earlier today, so if you'd like to go to my page, Chris Sanders, and just hear the gospel, because you're hearing about all these people that love Jesus, and maybe if you can hear the Bible, it might give you a little bit of understanding on as to why. Until then, God bless you, and understand that we don't need to fund the Ukraine another $60 billion. We don't need to destroy anything except, finishing out our wall, finishing out our infrastructure, rebuilding our refineries, minding our own business, and treating thy neighbor as we would want to be treated ourselves. And in no way does that include us bombing Afghanistan, the Ukraine, or Gaza. We've got to change our modus operandi, because not only are we the laughingstock of the world, we've become the most dangerous laughingstock of the world. And we've got to change that. God bless you and amen.